We come to the end of our ride, at least today, last day of riding. All the other guys have already hit the road, and Ted and I getting ready to pull out 8 o'clock here, a.m. local time. And I know it's going to be a beautiful ride back, but it's bittersweet, man. What a great time with you and the fellas. What a great ride it's been. So, man, Ted, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
It has been. It's been a great group of guys. We had a lot of fun. We had a great ATV ride up to the lookouts last night.
That was like crazy.
That was like the perfect ending that we never expected.
I know.
And everybody had a great time. The best part is everybody stayed upright. Everyone is in one piece, headed back home our separate ways. And I think the common consensus of the group is, when can we come back and do this again? Which means maybe somebody else will be coming back to do this again soon, hopefully.
Might have to do it. So where are we heading today? We actually got a good day of riding, you and I, as we head back toward Wenatchee.
Yeah, we do. We have 2 mountain passes to go over, both of them a little bit above 4,000 feet, which will keep us nice and cool. Beautiful scenery. First one, Sadis Pass, has a lot of wild Mustangs, so if you want a good picture of the West, if you look off to the left and right as we go up, you should see some wild horses up there. Then we drop into the Indian Reservation at Toppenish, and then we go through Canyon Road, which follows this canyon. It's a great road with a stupid low speed limit of 45 miles an hour. Never understood that. Then at Blewett Pass, which is my home territory, back home, and be home in time for a late lunch.
Sweet. Excellent. We're getting on the road, baby. Here we go. And back up north toward Wenatchee. Rolled up onto the open plains, the open prairie, high country of southern Washington. And in beautiful morning sunlight, guiding us forward, guiding us northward. It was a beautiful, peaceful ride all the way back. Wide open vistas like this. And, it was bittersweet. All the other guys had already gone their own separate ways, as I said earlier with Ted. And Ted and I just making our way north.
Canada to Mexico, went through this spot. If you look, you can still see some of the wagon ruts up on the hills.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see him right across there.
This was actually a stage stop during the route. Pretty cool to see how long those ruts have lasted in those mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, and how many apparently passed this way. They left a mark literally on the land.
That was really fascinating to see. Looking off in the distance where I was pointing and seeing Mount Adams on one side, and on the right side among those hills were the wagon wheel tracks of the settlers a couple hundred years ago. I'd never seen that before. That was just amazing to me. So much history in this beautiful land up here. Wide, wide country. Farmland as far as you can see. Pastures, prairie, ranches. Beautiful.
Mount Hood there. Mount Adams there. And I think off over in the distance you can see a little peak of Rainier. That is quite the picture.
Back through the rocky high country again. And we had actually met up with 3 of the guys in the group that weren't able to ride with us. In fact, one of them was Bill Motzenbacher, they call him Motz, who actually had loaned me this bike here. And a couple other guys that met us about halfway back to ride us back home. That was kind of a neat thing. So we were a bit of a group again, and I got to meet the guys that didn't take the ride with us and the guy that loaned me the bike. Great story behind this too. He's actually, Motz actually has a friend whose wife is in care for Parkinson's disease, and it's getting pretty advanced, and he used to ride with him, but he cares for his wife, and now she's in full-time medical care. So Mott's is donating this motorcycle to his friend. And I thought that was just a wonderful thing. Great guy. Oh, this was a cool shot too. I mean, seeing these giant windmills and power lines overhead, just had to grab a cheek shot of that right there. A couple of guys had peeled off after some while of riding with us back toward their home. I think Moss was still up in front of Ted and I, because he lives a bit closer to Ted than some of these other guys do. Just a beautiful scene right there. Now we're back in Columbia River Gorge, making our way back toward Wenatchee. Boy, if we'd have had weather like this all week, well, there wouldn't have been as much to write about, so I'm really not complaining. So, memorable trip. Sunshine, rain, cold, warm temperatures, whatever. It made it memorable. Every bit of it. What a great time.
And so we come back into Wenatchee. The end of another great day of riding.
Well, Ted, we're going to end where we began, up here on the hillside overlooking Wenatchee and the Columbia River, where hard to believe it's been a week or so since we actually rode the bikes up here, and we talked through what the plans for the week were, and man, it was epic.
A lot of things went right, and a lot of things went wrong too.
That's the nature of a road trip, man. That's the nature of it. But oh gosh, you know, the guys were asking me the other night, what are some highlights? I think when I think of some of the highlights, I think of taking the Rowena curves, you know, in high winds up over there and on the Oregon side. I think of my first glimpse. What highway was that? My first glimpse of Mount Adams, when all of a sudden we're running these twisty, curvy roads, and all of a sudden there's Mount Adams on the left side, and it took my breath away. And then I also think one of my favorites too was when we first crossed into Oregon, and we're at elevation. It's all clouded and socked in, a little misty. There's snow on either side of the road, and my gauge said, I want to say it said 36 degrees. And then all of a sudden we climb out of that and we ride out of it. And then when we dropped into the Prairie City Valley and the sun's breaking and there's green fields and the strawberry mountains beyond, that, dude, I had a choke up moment. It was just, I still can't hardly describe it, but as a writer, I got to find words for it because it's got to go into the article.
Well, it's because we had everything. We had rain, we had sleet, we had snow, we had bikes that wouldn't start. We had one rider hit by a deer today.
Yeah.
We had, you name it, it happened on this trip. And yesterday we had probably 124 miles of nothing but canyon carving and a couple of mountains looking at us the whole time. You name it, we did it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be back next year and you won't hold the bad weather against me.
Won't hold it against him. Because we have our share back on the East Coast in Georgia too. So, Ted, I want to thank you again for inviting me up with you. Ted and I have been long distance, buddies for the last year and a half or so on, all kinds of social media and FaceTiming. But then just to get to, hang out with you in person and ride with you, and it's just been, it's been a dream come true. It's really been a bucket list item coming up here to the Pacific Northwest. And what made it better was hanging out with good friends like you and meeting the guys in Mild Hogs and earning my little my hula girl Darla
Oh, yeah.
as an official Wild Rose Squad
Yep.
member.
She made it the whole trip.
She did, man.
Unlike mine, which ditched me back in Ellensburg on
She
the
did.
roundabout. She could not run away from me fast enough. Girls do that to me all the time.
Oh,
Oh, I love you,
hilarious.
let me get off the bike. She jumped off of the back of that bike like I was on fire, but that's the nature of hula girls. They're a fickle species.
Mine's going home with me.
Don't tell the wife.
That'll be a hula girl about that. Well, anyway, we wanted to wrap up here, and Ted, been a great time. And you know, if you ever get an opportunity to ride the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, take the chance. You really need to do it. This is some of the most beautiful, for riders, undiscovered country in the world. In the world.
Used to be undiscovered. Now that you're writing about it, and everyone's going to go to Road Dirt TV and read it and look at all the awesome photos and the photo essay and the gallery there. Now we're going to have to find a way to keep it to ourselves.
Rob and Ted with Road Dirt. Ride life.